Praise the Lord. Thank God for the saints. Thank God to be together this morning. I'm glad for the beautiful weather that He's given us to be able to be together in service this morning. I want to greet all those that are watching online and all those that have come from afar. You're not going to come in vain by the grace of God. You can be seated. God has given to us something wonderful this morning, something beautiful, and it's more than just good feelings, but it's having the prophecy, having the beautiful, beautiful prophecies that we have to get in line with. I'm thankful for Brother Henry this morning, Pastor Henry. Thank God that we have pastors in our time who can lead and show the way. Brethren, they are expensive people. You don't just find good pastors anywhere. You can't just go to No Frills and just shop around and find a good pastor or just go somewhere else. They're expensive people. I'm thankful for Brother and Apostle Benjamin Tovstiga. Brethren, I wish you apostles could stand up. I wish you could. Brother Jacob Braun, thank God, brethren. Thank God. Thank you, brethren. I'm thankful to be in a place where there's leaders that can show us the way to go. I'm thankful to be in a place where my children can be able to be taught the way of salvation. It's beautiful this morning. With the help of the Lord, I would like to preach to you. Some of you may not know me. My name is Sister Sarah Tovstiga. I don't know if you've heard of that last name before. I'm thankful that the Lord ever called me to preach. The Lord called me to preach when I was 11 years old, and I'm thankful. I'm thankful that He has given me the privilege to be able to preach in this evening time. We're going to get along with our message because we are all in the heat this morning. I'm in the shade, but you're in the heat. So we are going to preach with the help of the Lord. I want you to pray that the Lord could be able to help us to preach what He's given to us. Revelation chapter 12. We're going to start in Revelation chapter 12. In verse 1, it says, "There appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun, and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars." How beautiful! "And she, being with child, cried, travailing in birth and pain to be delivered. And there appeared another wonder." Remember, the devil always reacts to what God does. "There appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and 7 crowns upon his heads. And his tail drew the third part of the stars of heaven and did cast them to the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman, which was ready to be delivered, for to devour her child as soon as it was born." Verse 5, "And she brought forth." I'm so glad I have a good voice. Because I'm going to read that one more time. I don't think you understand what's going on here. In verse 5, it says, "She brought forth." If you're a mother this morning and you've had some children, you know the excitement that means. Whenever you have struggled and travailed and cried, and then when the words come forth, "She brought forth," you feel like hopping and shouting and running all over the room. so glorious that after all the travail and after all the strenuous work and labor, that there was a good result. All right, she brought forth a man-child who was to rule all nations with a rod of iron. And her child was caught up unto God and to his throne. The church was on the verge of something mighty. The church here in the morning time was travailing to bring forth. Travail is hard, strenuous, uncomfortable work. And the church had gone through this to produce this man-child. This woman, her fulfillment was not a comfortable, easy life. Her fulfillment was not her dream home. Her fulfillment was not to have the best and comfortable feelings. But her fulfillment, it was not money either. A lot of people today are after the money. They're after the dollar. But not this woman. She knew who she was. And her fulfillment was complete and full delivery of what had been placed within her, the prophecy that had been placed within her. It was her fulfillment. That was everything to her, to be able to produce something mighty, something that had her own DNA. You see, she was not just a weak woman. She was not just any old vain person. She did not try to go out and chase men. This woman, I understand the context, but this woman was a powerful woman who knew who she was. She knew who the devil was. The devil knew who she was. And there was something that she knew, that it was the time for her to deliver her child. No doubt she had cried and wept. They had been burdened. Lord, give us a complete delivery. We need to have prophecy on us. Let me tell you something that's heavier than oppression on the world, and that is prophecy. Something heavier than all the oppression is the weight of prophecy on this world. And I want to say the world groans under the weight not only of oppression, but of prophecy. It's under the weight. Prophecy is so heavy this morning. And this woman knew that prophecy was behind her and in her and through her. And I believe as she cried and as she wept, it was not a sorrow or something that she regretted, but it was something that her heart was yearning to bring forth. How is it, mothers, if you're in travail and you know you have a dragon that's in the room ready to devour your child? Who stands before and in the midst of your pain and your intensity, there's a dragon that's looking and waiting to devour your child, and standing there and watching. And I believe that didn't intimidate her or move her back. But this woman had prophecy, like we said. She was impregnated with prophecy. And I believe boldness overcame her. And she was able, and I'm just going to speak in these terms. I know that this is in symbols, but I believe that she looked the dragon in the eyes and was not intimidated. How is it, mothers, if you know your child's in danger, you start looking at the danger in the eyes? Sometimes I don't like it whenever I'm chased by, not sometimes, I don't like it when I'm chased by dogs. I don't like that at all. I've been bitten by a dog and I don't like it when they start chasing me and barking. I don't like that. And there's been times I've looked the dog in the eye and I start shouting at the dog, "Get away! Don't you come closer!" You say, "What are you doing? You're crazy. Why are you looking at a dog in the eye?" But there's something that rises up within me, and I know I have to defend myself. And I start looking at the danger right in the eye. "Don't you come closer. Don't do it. Don't do it. Get away. Get away." And sometimes I like to think what the dog's thinking. He's probably looking at me and saying, "That woman I don't think I want to touch her." Brethren, this woman in Revelation 12 was not intimidated by the dragon. She wasn't weak. She wasn't feeble. She wasn't frail. She knew who she was. She knew who the dragon was. She knew why he had come. He knew why he had come. And she looked at him and she kept on travailing. She kept on crying. She kept on working strenuously, not willing to give her product of her own self to the dragon. Oh, brethren, this excites me this morning. This is wonderful. Christianity has never been intimidated or shy or weak. Never, never, never. Christianity never was the type that would shy away when the dragon would come and say, I don't know. I'm just not sure what I am or what I'm called to do. I'm not sure if I'm a Christian. Should I just, hunker down and be quiet and be silent? She wasn't like that. She knew who she was. Brethren, this morning, do you know who you are? I'm talking about Christianity. She knew who she was. Her child was a man-child. Her child was not weak and just something that barely survived. It was a healthy, strong child. Beautiful. And I love that it says he went forth to rule the nations. He was born to rule. True Christianity this morning is born to rule, born to judge, born to stand out, born to fight. It's in our blood, Brother Henry.
Yes, ma'am.
What happened to Christians that can't stand up, that don't have it in them to do what they need to do against evil around us? This child was militant and bold. And there's a lot of people today professing to be Christians that are man-child, that don't have the ruling in them, that are embarrassed, that hunker down. They're afraid of the devil. Christians afraid of the devil. I wish you could laugh with me about that. But it's almost not funny. You have people that say they're Christians, that say they love God, that say they're born of the woman, that say that they're a part of prophecy, but you can't tell them apart from anybody else. They're weak. They're falling apart. They don't know if they're a part of the world or a part of the church. They don't know. They've lost their identity. But what was so powerful about this woman is she knew her identity. She knew who she was. And I want to say one of the first plans, attacks of the devil is for us as Christians to not know who we are. To not know what we're supposed to do. The male people know what they're supposed to do, and they have their uniform on, and people respect them, and they take their mail. No one thinks about vandalizing the mailman or his truck because he is distinct. He knows who he is. He's not driving around in his little mail truck and wondering, so am I a mail deliverer? Am I not? Lord, show me if I'm a mail deliverer. Help me to be bold to people, to wear my uniform and tell them that I'm supposed to give them the mail that they need. He's not doing that. I don't even need to go in the town of Aylmer and ask for all the mail people and ask them that question. They don't do that. It doesn't come to their mind. They know who they are. They know their capabilities. They know what they're called to do. They're paid to do it, and they get in their truck with boldness, and they go driving around. Here's your mail. Here's your mail. And then the policeman, he got his attire. He knows who he is. He's not shaking at his knees on the wheel. Oh, am I a police or am I just, oh, who am I? What do I do? I wonder if I should just, I'm afraid to wear my tag, frame my badge. I'll just wear my coat. And I'm just embarrassed of who I am. in my calling and my job to this community. And I'm embarrassed when I see the children. I want to go help. I just cover myself up. And whenever I go to the fair, I'm embarrassed of who I am, not the police. He walks with confidence. He walks with assurance. He walks proudly with his head up, unashamed. And he'll come up to you and say, so what is your name?
Yes.
We have people that are in the army and the military that go away for months. Their families don't see them. They're not crying at home. They are proud to be the family of the military personnel. They are proud to be their family. Proud to be their family. Not saying, would you come home? Would you please be with me? Let's sit around the table together. They're saying, my family is in the military. My family's in the military. They're not embarrassed of it. But nowadays you have people whose relatives are true Christians, and they're so embarrassed to walk with them. They're embarrassed. They're embarrassed of their dress. When they go into the store, they'll be careful to walk a little bit away from them, a few steps behind them, because they're embarrassed of true Christianity. What happened to true Christianity? That knows who they are. The devil is not afraid of people that don't know who they are. The devil is not afraid of people that don't understand their identity, that don't understand the time. He's not afraid of that. But the devil is afraid of Christians. The devil is afraid of people who have been born into the kingdom of God, who are unafraid to show who they are. This man-child was not walking with his head down and saying, I'm saved, I'm a Christian. I hope no one asked what church I go to. I hope no one will confront me. The man-child was a healthy boy. He was a healthy boy. And the mother, she was just rejoicing that she was able to present him to the world, because she knew the prophecy that laid on his shoulder. Let me tell you something this morning. After the morning time, there was a time of darkness. And it goes through Protestantism, where people, it was a dark time, and people were so disgusted with the religion of Catholicism, and they were so disgusted with that, they came out, it was a dark time, and they just thought, you know what, it's safer for us to be at home and to just rule ourselves. It's safer for us to not go. We'll just do our own thing. We'll just be our own selves, our own, and we'll determine whether it's right or whether it's wrong. A very, very dark time, because Christians need true pastors. Christians cannot be their own pastor. Christians cannot govern themselves. They need people that God sends. And people got so sick and tired of seeing that false Christianity, of just being your own God, of just being your own church. And people were turned away from Christianity. People looked the other way. They thought it was ugly. They thought it was disgusting. They didn't like the religiosity and no power. And people turned away because it was nasty to them. It was ugly to them. It was disgusting to them. And they turned away from that and started to look for something else. I would need my Bible. I'm going to go up and get my Bible. People were so disgusted at the just traditions, but no power. They didn't like to see somebody that just followed years of tradition, but didn't have anything that was worth telling the world about. And I want to turn now to Revelation chapter. I told you I'm going to try to hurry. Revelation chapter 18. It says in verse 1, and after these things, after seeing all of that, after Protestantism, after all that religiosity, Revelation chapter 18 verse 1 says, after these things, I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lightened with his glory. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the great is fallen, and is become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and cage of every unclean and hateful bird. And in verse 4 it says, and I heard another voice saying, come out of her, my people. Come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues. What plagues? What sins was he talking about? This was including the sins of Protestantism. And he was telling people, he said, you need the angel. He said, come out of her. And I want to preach this morning, distinct Christianity is not meant to fit in. Distinct Christianity is not meant to just lay down and say, I'm a Christian. I love God. But Christians of all times have been aggressive people. They're devil chasers, Brother Zacchaeus. They're people that look the devil in the eye. They're people that are of royal blood, who are not afraid of going into no frills and testifying in the store. What happened to the day when Christians are so full of God that they go into the grocery store and they're shopping for their butter and their cheese, and then they get so stirred up with God, so in love with God. Not that they're going and saying, I'm going to fight for my rights, but they're saying, you know what, I have something in me that this world doesn't have. And they start walking the aisles with tears in their eyes and no frills and saying, thank God there's a Jesus to pray to. That is normal Christianity. Normal Christianity. There were people that were burned at the stake. There were people that were unafraid of the lions whenever it came to it. And they stood and they were willing to testify at the risk of their life and their children's lives. They were willing to go through whatever it took because they wanted to defend the royal line of Christianity. And brethren, this morning, we have a royal line of Christianity behind us. We're right in line with it. And the temptation in our time in 2022 is just to be a good, sweet, nice church. To be someone that the community loves who doesn't want to be loved. Who doesn't want to be loved? We all want to be loved. I want to be loved. I want to be liked. But I love God more than I love the people that I want to like me. I love God more than that. People that were so distinct and unashamed of the reproach. Are you ashamed of the reproach of Christ? If you, Christians, let me first say this, Christians are extraordinary people. I wish you all would say extraordinary. Extraordinary. Say it again, extraordinary. Say it again. Extraordinary. Again. Extraordinary. If you don't believe you're If you don't believe that you are saved and full of God, you're just going to be one of the masses. But I believe this morning that I'm a part of the extraordinary host. And I want to look extraordinary. I want to talk extraordinary. I want everybody, when they see me, I want them to turn their head and say, who is that? When I walk down the street, I don't want to fit in with the crowd. I want them to turn and say, did you see that? That's normal. It's normal. Normal. People are supposed to look at Christians and say, I've never seen what that is before. When they came out of the upper room, they weren't coming out and saying, oh God, give us grace, give us wisdom. We're past the time of praying, Lord, give me wisdom. We need Christianity like it burst out of the upper room. I believe Christianity just came out flying like, woo! And I believe they were running down the streets. They weren't stuck in the meeting houses and doing their little thing, praying, and they were full of power, full of God. From its very beginning. But we have people in 2022 who claim to be Christians that don't have that power, that don't have that glory, that aren't bursting, and saying, I've got to destroy the enemy's works. I've got to do something in this time. We have devil worshipers that lay on their beds at night, just last night, that lay on their beds and think, how can I invent a new way? How can I invent a new evil thing? But Christians are so embarrassed. Christians are so downplayed and watery, and there's nothing to them. They lay on their beds and wait for the last berries on the top of the tree they don't have anything. They don't have anything. What happened to Christianity? What happened to young men laying on their beds and start thinking, how can I show the world? How can I show the world I hate sin? How can I show the world that I'm tired of false Christianity? I'm going to say what Brother Patrick O'Shea Jr. said. He said, as Paul saved the Christians in the morning time from Judaism, so we in our time need to be saved from Christianity. I am tired this morning of Christianity. I'm sick of it. I am sick of Christianity. Church on every corner, everybody polite, everybody sweet, everybody nice, but the world is in a terrible condition. Are you a Christian or are you not? Are you a Christian or are you not? In the morning time, they turned the world upside down. But now in 2022, they're so sweet that the devil is not afraid of them. They've kissed the devil. I'm going to say it again.
Say it again.
Christians in 2022, not us.
Not us.
But Christianity has kissed the devil because they want to be so sweet.
Right.
They want to be so pious, Brother Jacob, that they're kissing the devil.
Right.
They want to be so nice that they're not willing to stand out. They can't go and smile on the street corner with a long dress and a bun on the back of their head and say, I'm not ashamed.
Right.
I was just recently in the airport, and I walked through the airport, and there was something in me that said, there was people everywhere, something in me that said, you know what, you just need to hurry up and get to your seat because they're all watching you. And I almost did it, Brother Jacob. And then I thought, wait a minute. That's not a good thing. So I took the baby, and I walked in the airport for a little walk. We were stuck there. We had a layover, so I thought, this is my time. I'm not going to hunker down in a seat right now. I'm going to walk through the airport, and I'm going to show them that I'm proud to be a Christian. And if we don't believe in who we are, The devil believes in who he is.
Oh, yes.
And that's how it is with many Christians today. The devil's chased them off. The devil's got them to be all quiet about issues of our time.
Right.
It's time that Christians stand up for what they are. We're as bold as a lion, saints. We're as bold as a lion. And I don't want to make my family embarrassed of me.
Right.
I don't want to make saints who have gone to the stake and burned to death embarrassed of me. I understand that I won't get to heaven and have a conversation like this, but I'm just going to, I don't want to get to heaven and say, I'm so sorry. I don't know. I didn't do anything. And they're telling their stories. It won't be like that. Believe me, it won't be like that. We're going to go through something in this time. If we're going to be followers of God and followers of these dear brethren who are following God like Paul said, we're going to shake the world. We're going to shake the nations. And the nations will not grit their teeth to be distinct and peculiar people. They won't say, oh, God, help me. Oh, Lord, give me grace today to go into No Frills and show who I am. They're going to say, glory to God, I have to get groceries again.
Yes.
I knew I needed butter again. I knew I needed cream. I knew I needed those chips or whatever it is. What happened to brothers going in the store all dressed up? Why do you have to go home and change your clothes to downplay Christianity? What happened to sisters going in the store all dressed up? You say, I've heard that preached before. That's just a nice thing to say. No, I mean it. I mean it. I believe that just as people are willing to do their green hair, their red hair, their blue hair, and look distinct, but Christianity cannot. What is wrong with us? I'll say it again. God save us from Christianity. How come they're unafraid to wave their flag, to do whatever they do, to unashamedly worship the devil? But Christians pray for grace to stand out. It's outdated. It is outdated. It's outdated Christianity. It is time for Christianity to take over the world. There's so many people that try to help the African Americans. I'm going back in time now. Try to help the natives. But the worst thing that happened to them, and I'm going back to Brother Patrick's, what he said, is that they were enslaved to Christianity. They were shackled to Christianity. That was the worst thing that happened to them. It was terrible for them to be beaten, to be abused in those awful ways, to be taken from their homeland. That was terrible. But more terrible than that was that they were shackled to a false Christianity. The Christianity that told them they couldn't be godly unless they would dampen down and do tame things. Don't be wild. Don't be, just dampen down. If anybody tells you that, you say, get behind me, Satan. Christianity is going to turn this world right side up.
Yes, sister.
There's going to be young people that get saved and pray through that won't be praying for grace and strength and wisdom. They'll be like the man-child who is so full of what their mother had that they can't help but burst out of the upper room. They won't even hardly be asking, like, so brother, should I do this or not? What do you say? They'll be doing things, and we'll be saying, well, you could have a little more wisdom, maybe, in how you did. But no, they'll just be going forth. Oh, God, help us. I hate Christianity this morning. I hate churchy, just good, Sunday go-to-meeting people. Thank you. Thank you. Come out of her, my people. partaker of her sins. Don't be a partaker of her plagues. There's going to be many people that will be lost. Listen closely. Many people that will be lost who professed to be Christians. But this man-child of Revelation 12 was born to rule. Not born to get saved and sit on a shelf somewhere. Not born to not know who he was and say, my mother is the wonder of the world, but I don't know who I am. I'm a little embarrassed to walk with my mother who travailed to bring me forth. We should be leaping and shouting. This man-child went forth with power and strength that was invested in him. It was in his DNA. It was right into him. Yes, sister. Went forth to save the world. I love this way. I love this way. Extraordinary people. Why was Stephen stoned? Pray tell, why was Stephen stoned? He was a good, nice preacher, wasn't he? He was good. Why did they pick up the stones? And now Christians are everywhere. They're in places of high places. They're everywhere. But Stephen, they would not let him preach his message even outside. He didn't even get it. Oh, brethren, what a royal line we're from. Hebrews chapter 11. Rahab. They had a lot to pick with her. Rahab, you're not a good woman. Rahab, you did this. She said, I'm going to join in with that crew. Yes. And I want my name to be in Hebrews chapter 11 down the list. I want by faith. Yes, yes. By faith. They did this. Oh, Lord, help us. Christianity is not to be bound by personality. Well, I'm just a quieter type. We're all quiet at some point. We're all a quieter type at some point. But when Christianity gets a hold of you, you can't be the quiet type all the time. However you express it, it'll come out. It'll bubble out. I love the song that says it's bubbling. Is it bubbling in your soul? Then you just don't have it. If it's not bubbling, it's just not there. It's just not there. The church was to be used as a mighty battle axe, not something weak. May God bless and help us this morning. Thank you so much for your time. And again, I want to say, God save us from the present day Christianity. May the Lord bless you.
This is precisely what 1 Corinthians chapter 14 verse 3 is talking about. They speak to us, when they prophesy, they speak to us to edification, exhortation, and comfort. And we heard from 3 of Philip's daughters this morning, and they helped us, they exhorted us, and I love what we heard this morning. Needless to say, anyone that knows me, anyone that has heard of me in the last 2 years, you know this morning I was greatly encouraged. I was comforted by one of Philip's daughters, as it says in Acts, in the book of Acts. So, brethren, we are an extraordinary people. Brethren, a year ago, we were here on this lawn, and we were fined for being here. $275,000 fine because we had a church service. I say it is time, as the sister preached, that we are not ashamed of who we are, and that we are not having empty parking lots when the other parking lots are filled. When people say, well, groceries are essential, liquor store is essential, and I guess, according to the Democrats, abortion clinics are essential. But we are the church of the living God, as the sister said this morning, and we are not ashamed of who we are. Thank God. Thank God, thank God. Brethren, nothing on this earth can stand against when God is moving. And God has kept us, God has moved in our midst, and God will keep on doing that. The only problem with this world is that we need a lot more people standing up. Whatever it takes, stand up. We have a song that says, stand up for Jesus. Brethren, I thank God for the comfort we received this morning. Sister, thank the Lord. Thank the Lord for your faithfulness.